Hi everyone, Auntie Speaks here. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. We are going to talk about land acknowledgements. We're going to talk about how terrible we are, how we stole all the land, and we are just awful, terrible people. So let's take a look.
We are coming to you from the ancestral lands of the Attawandaron people.
Stanford sits on the ancestral lands of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe.
Before I begin this morning, I'd like to recognize the Algonquin Nation, on whose traditional territory we are gathering. We acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land.
Down and getting quiet, and she said, I'd like to get started by acknowledging the indigenous culture of Minnesota.
Isn't that fun? Yeah, basically if you go to any college nowadays, if you go to any leftist speech, they're acknowledging, the land that we stole. Note to the left and the Democrats, every piece of land has been stolen. Every piece of land has been stolen. Yeah, my ancestors were the Vikings. They basically raped and pillaged their way across everywhere. I think the only place that they didn't go was China. Yeah, they basically stole everything. The Romans stole everything. Then before them, there was the Greeks, the Egyptians, the Macedonians, the Mongols, Genghis Khan. My goodness, what did he do? Just everything. Oh, and then Germany. Well, Germany, stole land all over the place. Russia's trying to steal land right now. Okay, this is the way the world was. Even the Indians stole land from other people. They didn't just sit in their teepees and live one with the land. No, they were warring tribes who went and stole land from other people. If there was a tribe over there that was weaker, they stole their land and usually stole their women and children. And it's not because they're Indian, it's because they're human. Before the Western culture, before Judeo-Christian values, which said stealing is wrong, and even during Christian values, before really capitalism, where you could make money without stealing stuff, everyone did it. So what are you going to do? Okay. Seriously. And some of this stuff is just crazy. That last person for Minnesota. If you don't know anything about Minnesota, people fake to try to get into the tribe. Because they're like super, super rich in Minnesota. So people like try to fake that they're part of that tribe. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a really unique situation where a professor was brave. I wish more professors would be brave in today's world, but he tried to fight this land acknowledgement stuff because it's so stupid. And then FIRE stepped in to help them out. If you don't know what FIRE is, they are a nonprofit law firm that helps free speech on college campuses, which free speech is an endangered species at this point in time. So let's take a look at what FIRE did for this guy.
Colleges and universities are supposed to open students' minds to diverse viewpoints. Increasingly, though, schools of higher education are clamping down on professors' expressive freedoms. At the University of Washington, though, one professor is pushing back.
I'm Stuart Regis. I'm a teaching professor at the University of Washington. I teach in computer science and engineering, and our program has become the most popular on campus. Well, in some ways, it's kind of the best of times right now. We're getting lots of support from the state to grow our program. We have world-class researchers here and a lot of great teachers here. But in other ways, it's the worst of times because I feel like there's a fight going on about what I call the equity agenda. And it's a battle for the soul of the university.
Stuart Regis has been at the center of controversy this year. Surprisingly, the controversy is surrounding his syllabus for a class he teaches in computer science.
Recently, there's been other stuff creeping into the syllabus.
The other stuff Stuart Regis is referring to are specific views on political topics.
Part of this effort to do diversity, equity, and inclusion has involved the diversity committee giving us a list of best practices, things that we should do to try to have more equitable teaching. And one of the suggestions was to have a land acknowledgement on our syllabus. I think that the traditional land acknowledgements that are being given basically have an assumption of the evil United States and our history of oppressing native tribes. And if you don't affirm that, then they get very upset.
FIRE takes no position on the value of land acknowledgements, which is a topic that's up for debate, but faculty rights are not up for debate.
He's right. He's exactly right. This is not about acknowledging the land. It is about demonizing America. America is not unique in this situation. They're not. And when you do these land acknowledgements, all you're doing is creating division. That's all you're doing. Because what are you supposed to do? Okay, the Snohomish, we took the land from the Snohomish. Now they took it from the Iroquois and they took it from the Apache. Well, I don't think anybody took anything from the Apaches. From what I hear, they were pretty tough. But yeah, all this is demonizing America. That's all this is about.
The school asked for a land acknowledgement, so Stuart decided to write his own version. But before Stuart Regis took the challenge, he was emailed an article which first piqued his interest on the topic.
So there was an article that was posted on our Diversity Allies mailing list from Ed Lazowska, who's a champion of diversity efforts. And this was something that he heard about at a diversity event where they were discussing this article that was questioning land acknowledgements.
The article, published by The Atlantic, was titled "Land Acknowledgements Are Just Moral Exhibitionism" by Graham Wood, and it said, "These statements relieve the speaker and the audience of the responsibility to think about Indigenous peoples, at least until the next public event, and a land acknowledgement is what you give when you have no intention of giving land."
Good point. Good point. This is basically exposing yourself as the most moral person in the world because you are so good that you are going to declare that the land you're on is stolen, and it makes you feel so good. Yeah, it's just performance art. That's all it is.
And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've been dealing with what I call the equity agenda and fighting back against that. And so I took the opportunity to make a political statement that I knew they wouldn't be happy with.
Stuart's land acknowledgement read, "I acknowledge that by the labor theory of property, the Coast Salish people can claim historical ownership of almost none of the land currently occupied by the University of Washington."
I wasn't serious, so maybe that makes it cynical. I mean, I would say I was being strategic. So I put it on the syllabus.
The University of Washington and the Allen School of Computer Science and Engineering, where Stuart works, opened the door to him discussing land acknowledgements on his computer science syllabus.
I put out the syllabus. As far as I can tell, my students didn't respond. I mean, one student asked me what the labor theory of property is, and I mentioned that it had to do with John Locke and his second treatise of government. But
that's really interesting. I've never heard of John Locke's labor theory of property. So I looked it up on Google, and this is what it says. Locke argued in support of individual property rights as natural rights. Following the argument, the fruits of one's labor are one's own because one worked for it. Furthermore, the laborer must also hold a natural property right in the resource itself, because exclusive ownership was immediately necessary for production. So he's basically saying if there was land there and you produced it, you made it something different, then it's yours. It's sort of like the theory of Manhattan. They bought it from the Indians and it was a swamp. They didn't want it. You couldn't build anything there. And then they built a big, huge city. And now the Indians are trying to say that they own New York City. Well, no, you sold it. Yeah, you didn't sell it for much, but that's your problem, not ours. And, maybe you didn't understand property or that type of thing. But the bottom line is we're the ones who brought it up. Well, not me. My family wasn't even here back then. My family didn't come to like late 1800s, 1900s. So that's pretty interesting. I like that.
After Stuart distributed his syllabus for his Intro to Computer Science course, his department director unilaterally removed it from his website.
First, they removed the syllabus itself. Then they posted a version of the syllabus that had it whited out. I then put back the original, and then they switched it again and set the file protection so that I could not change it.
The director of the School of Computer Science and Engineering claims that a syllabus for an intro to computer programming course is not the appropriate place or manner for a debate about land acknowledgements or to express personal views unrelated to the course. As FIRE's senior program officer, Zach Greenberg writes, if that's so, why does she require faculty to choose between silence on the topic or the university's equally irrelevant land acknowledgement statement?
I think that computer science doesn't have anything to do with land acknowledgements, but if you read our diversity documents, we're supposed to be incorporating social justice issues into every course that we teach.
A few months after Stewart's syllabus was censored, he was called into an investigatory meeting with his department where they encouraged him to come to an informal resolution under which he would not include a modified land acknowledgement statement again.
It began with this meeting where they described to me the complaints. The resolution they offered to me at the time was that I had to say that I would not use this in the future and that I wouldn't say things that would upset people on faculty mailing lists and things like that. It was clearly something that I would not be able to agree to. So it was elevated to the level of the dean. The dean has decided that she thinks it's serious enough to investigate. She's appointing a faculty committee to prepare the charge, was the way she described it.
It's important for Stewart to stand up for his free speech rights in this situation for all faculty who are asked to toe the party line by a university or its administrators. Faculty have the right to control the content of their course and of their syllabi, and Stewart is standing up for that right for all faculty.
Because UW is punishing Stewart for not expressing their viewpoint on a contentious political topic, FIRE is stepping in to offer legal assistance.
FIRE has been tremendously helpful. I think that one of the things with the current cancel culture on campus is that professors are finding themselves isolated. I'm suing the university because they have retaliated against me for political speech. It's interesting to hear the university president saying that she doesn't think this belongs on a syllabus, and hearing the director of our school saying that she doesn't think this belongs on a syllabus. But then why does the other version of the land acknowledgement belong on a syllabus? There's a clear free speech issue here. This is something that two different scholars of constitutional law, Volokh and Jonathan Turley, have both written articles saying, look, you can forbid all land acknowledgements or you can allow all of them. What you can't do is allow these and punish Stewart Regis.
So everybody, that's where we are today. If you don't do the right land acknowledgement, or if you disagree with a land acknowledgement, then the university will, try to get you fired or bring you up on disciplinary action or, crazy stuff. This is the world that we live in today. All right. And we need to just stop this stuff. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't make anybody feel better. It only divides people, because what you're doing is you're pissing some people off because they're looking at this like, what? We're acknowledging the land? I mean, what the heck? And then the other people are like, oh, we feel so good. We're acknowledging the land. America's a racist, sexist, terrible place that's colonial power that steals stuff. We're better than this. Okay, this is just not needed. So everybody like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.